Ahoy, this is Zdenka. Aochuan is back, this time with two new gimbals, Aochuan Smart-X PRO and Smart-X. And I can tell you straight up that for the price they're selling this for, it's actually pretty good. They did some major updates. Those updates are rather good. Of course, there are some flaws as well. I'm gonna mention it in today's video. By the way, they sent 4 units. 1 unit is staying in the studio. And if you want to know what I'm gonna do with the 3 remaining units, keep watching. This video is sponsored by Aochuan. 2 gimbals. They look the same, but they are not the same. Both gimbals, again, are very good in terms of pricing. For those who want to actually see it, to see the price in your country and in your currency, depending where you live, links are below the video in the video description. Smart-X has basic features. Smart-X PRO has advanced features. Smart-X weighs 295 grams. X PRO is a little bit heavier, it weighs 310 grams. Both gimbals have the same dimensions. Maximum payload for both gimbals is 250 grams. Well, we will see what we can fit into 250 grams. We'll definitely test it. Both gimbals have built-in light. You're going to like this one. Both gimbals have replaceable batteries. I know that many of you expressed high interest in replaceable batteries. Version X has 2600 mAh battery and version X Pro has a bigger 3200 mAh battery. Both take about 2.5 hours to be charged. X version will last 7 to 9 hours and X Pro version will last 7 to 10 hours. Operating temperature is 0 to 45 degrees Celsius. Both gimbals use the same app called Aochuan. I'll show it later in this video. And lastly, both gimbals have a port at the bottom to mount a tripod to it. 2 gimbals, so what is the difference between those two? Smart-X doesn't have a focus wheel, but X Pro has one. Instead of focus wheel, you'll get a port where you can mount a light or microphone or anything else you need. Both gimbals have a zoom button below. There are 2 more features which are not available on X version, but only X Pro version. First one is OLED display where you can see modes and other info. On the X version, you can still see which mode you have selected. Second feature is wireless charging. That comes only on the X Pro. Oh, I tested that one. My phone, iPhone 13 Pro, was in red, literally was drained, and I needed to call to Europe. So I grabbed this gimbal in a hurry, and I think that at that time when I grabbed it, the battery life on a gimbal was roughly 50%, I think, my guess, not really sure. So I was calling through Facebook Messenger. It was a video call. I talked for about 45 minutes. At the end of 45 minutes, the gimbal died out, it was drained, but my phone was actually recharged, I'd say about 35%. And if you are wondering if you can also charge your phone via cable, this port is only for charging the gimbal. You cannot charge your phone with it. I'm gonna continue with the X Pro version. Let's talk about the clamp. The clamp is super strong. It really grabs the phone. You can fit phone sizes between 59 to 90 millimeters. I've got 2 phones here, iPhone 13 Pro and Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. The iPhone, without a case, not a problem. Perfect fit. I, however, have a moment thin case where I can attach a variable ND filter to it and extra lenses. Once I have that case on, it's not fitting well. And here and there, the phone actually fell out on me. Unfortunately, the grip is not deep enough, so no case for this iPhone. If you want to use a variable filter on this iPhone 13 Pro with this gimbal, then you have to use something like this Power Rig. I bought it a couple weeks ago, which you literally glue to your iPhone, and then you can attach 52mm filters on it. Or the other solution would be using a clamp with variable ND filter. The Android Samsung also has a moment case on it where you can mount filters and lenses, and that one fits no problem because it's very thin. It's much thinner. So this will really depend on the depth of your phone if it can really fit into the clamp with a case. Balancing is easy and a bit different from other gimbals. The phone has to be flat on the top like this in order to be perfectly balanced. When the gimbal is on, the feeling I have from the other gimbals, and I have pretty much all of them, I actually filmed with this the whole day, so I really tested it fully. You probably saw the last video I posted about the gimbal modes. It was done with this one. So when I have it on and I'm working with this gimbal, the movements are absolutely smooth. There's no cracking in the body and stuff. It's all very solid. There is 0 vibrations. It didn't vibrate on me throughout the whole day, not even once. I didn't have any problems with it. And the motors are absolutely silent. It is a big improvement from the version XR, which I reviewed a long time ago. Pan angle is 310 degrees, roll angle is 330 degrees, and you can either control it manually by pressing the joystick to the side in either direction or use automatic inception mode. Mechanical tilt angle is 345 degrees, but controllable tilt angle is 76 degrees. Before I continue with the buttons and modes and app and all that, let's do a stabilization test. When you go to the app, you will have 2 options. You can either use just camera built-in stabilization, just a phone stabilization, or you can turn on the anti-shake. When you turn that on, there's gonna be a slight crop. So let's do first test just with the anti-shake off. Let's just use the camera stabilization. And now let's turn on anti-shake to see the difference. Let's have a closer look at the buttons and the way you operate the gimbal. My personal feeling when it comes to this one, it's simple and straightforward. Power button will turn on and off the gimbal if you long press, and a single click will turn on the back light. It has 3 levels of brightness, level 1, 2, 3, and off. If you double press, you can check the battery level. Record button lets you record videos and take photos if you press 1 time. If you double press, you can switch between horizontal and vertical mode. If you hold the record button, this is where you can turn on and off wireless charging. Joystick is not just a joystick, it's also a button. You can move the gimbal around and a single click will let you switch between modes. It's got pan follow, follow mode, lock mode, and POV mode. Double click will recenter the gimbal, and if you press 3 times, you will get into pre-programmed inception mode. In this mode, it will start spinning automatically. If you want to spin the gimbal manually, you can do that in the POV mode. Focus wheel is right here. Let's see how smooth it is. It's actually fairly smooth. Zoom, let's check that as well. Okay, I noticed in this that the zoom is purely digital. It's not going to switch lenses as you are zooming in. In the app, you have to select the lens you are going to film with, and then you can zoom in using that lens. I also noticed that you cannot use the buttons, even record button, outside of Aochuan app, at least on this iPhone. So if you are going to be filming with this gimbal, you will have to use their app, otherwise you will have to tap on the screen with your finger. Good news is though that you can switch gimbal modes outside of the app. Speaking of modes, as I mentioned before, last week I published a gimbal modes tutorial where I was using this gimbal. I simply wanted to test it in the field before I make this in-depth review. I liked how it was performing. except one mode, and that was the lock mode. For example, if you are filming the high and low, if you're standing up and you need to go very low to the ground and you want to keep everything locked, with this gimbal, I guess because the tilt is not so big, you have to keep your arm like this at all times. So you have to physically go very deep into your knees. This gimbal will make you work out in order to keep the frame perfectly locked. With other gimbals, you can cheat it a bit. You can actually go like this with the arm a little bit, but with this gimbal, no, you're gonna lose the lock mode right away. So if you're gonna be using lock mode, you have to keep in mind to keep the arm like this at all times, and you have to really physically do the work. I also noticed that when I perfectly balanced the gimbal and I was using ultra wide angle lens, yes, I was seeing a bit of a motor in the shot. It's easy to fix, just move the phone to the side a bit, move it to the left. The gimbal won't be perfectly balanced anymore, but it will be just fine. You're not gonna see the motor in the shot anymore. You might, however, drain the battery a little bit faster. Break time! I got 3 units here, Aochuan Smart-X, 2 units, and 1 unit Aochuan Smart-X Pro. All 3 units are gonna go to 3 random winners. So how do you qualify for this giveaway? Well, first of all, you need to be subscribed to this channel. And second of all, I'm gonna give you 2 questions. One question I'm gonna say right now, but please don't write the answer in the comments yet. Wait for the second question, which will come a little bit later in this video. So the question is, number 1, which smartphone model, which smartphone you're actually using right now? Let's check out the app to see what it has to offer. First, I'm gonna show it with the Apple phone, and then I'm gonna show it with the Android phone I have. Beauty mode is on the left, video resolution is next. You can do 4K in 24, 30, and 60 frames per second. The same goes to 1080p and 720p. You can choose between formats H.264 and H.265. Settings is next. You can use a timer, enable camera settings. You can enable Bluetooth microphone here. You can adjust gimbal settings. Here you can adjust follow speed and joystick speed. You can turn on the grid, anti-shake, and film in manual mode. On the right, we have filming modes. Moves are first. Here's where you can learn different moves in different modes. Inception mode is next. Hitchcock, also known as dolly zoom, is next. Panorama, where you can do 3x5, 3x3, 330 degrees, and 180 degrees panorama. Then you have photos, video mode, and slow motion. Choice in slow motion is 240 frames per second or 120 frames per second in 1080p and 720p. Next mode is time-lapse, which you can film in 4K, 1080p, and 720p in 24 and 30 frames per second. Trajectory delay, which is basically motion time-lapse. Long exposure shot. And last one is live broadcast. When I click on that, I see TikTok, Quay, and other as a choice. Gesture control is also offered. One more feature needs to be tested as well, and that would be tracking. Now here it gets interesting because they have these 2 options. I'm actually gonna screen record this so you can see it exactly. The first option is just face tracking. Let's test it how it is. With face tracking, notice the framing. The face will always be exactly in the middle. Well, they have another option which I really like, and that would be body tracking. When you move away from the camera, you are going to get way better framing. You're not going to have that much space above the head. So let's see how good this option is. Android time. I switched to phones now. There is a Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. Let's see what is in the app. Now, keep in mind that every single Android is very different. If you ask me if your phone is compatible with this gimbal and if you're gonna get exactly the same things, I will see in the app I really won't know the answer because I don't have your phone here. So the best thing would be either ask Aochuan directly or find somebody who is actually reviewing this gimbal with the phone you have. So this is what I see. When it comes to the frame rates and resolution, I see 4K, 1080p and 720p in 24 frames per second and 30 frames per second. Beauty mode is here. You can film in manual mode as well. Everything seems to be quite the same as with the iPhone except slow motion and long exposure. Those are not included. Okay, so the maximum payload is 250 grams. I would like to see what I can actually fit on that. Since the Moment case does not really fit in this gimbal with my Apple phone, I'm gonna use the Android. Variability filter with Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus and Moment case. No issues, it's not balanced properly. I don't have any counterweights to add on, but I don't see the motor having any problems with the weight. It's reacting just fine. No sound in the motors. Right now I added the anamorphic lens. The gimbal is not balanced perfectly, no, but the motor doesn't seem to have any issue with this kind of a weight, so surprisingly, it's working just fine. There's zero sound from the motor. It might be draining the battery a little bit fast, but I don't see any limitations in the movement whatsoever. So who is this gimbal for? It's good choice for beginners. It's good for people who just want to film in automatic mode or manual mode with variable ND filter. If you want to use extra lenses, the maximum payload is smaller, so that would not be the right choice. Smart-X gimbal would be more for vloggers. Smart-X Pro I see more for filming. Again, the link to this product can be found below the video in the video description for those interested. You will find some coupon codes there as well. Again, the pricing is really good. If you've made it all the way till the end of this video, you deserve to know the second question for the giveaway. The first question was asked somewhere already in this video. Okay, so what features on this gimbal, Aochuan Smart-X Pro, is the most important for you? What do you absolutely need in a gimbal? You've got exactly 48 hours to answer these questions. The deadline is displayed on the screen. The winners will be notified and announced in the next upcoming video next week. Below the video in a comment section, the comment will be pinned to the top. The same thing under this video, I'm gonna pin the same comment to the top. As Aochuan is a new company on the market, they have one little request for those who will win or buy their gimbal. This is what they said. If you are happy with the gimbal, please give us a review on Amazon. I think this is a fair request. Best of luck, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao, ahoj.